in the shadows, where faces are lost and fear takes hold. Welcome back to the haunting void. Slenderman. The old Blackwood Manor stood silhouetted against the bruised twilight sky, its decaying timbers groaning under the weight of a century's worth of secrets and shadows. Locals whispered tales of disappearances, of unsettling whispers carried on the wind, of a gaunt figure seen lurking amongst the gnarled trees. Slender Man. 10-year-old Billy, fueled by morbid curiosity and a dare from his older brother, ventured onto the property, a flashlight clutched in his trembling hand. The air grew heavy, the silence broken only by the frantic beat of his own heart. He felt watched, a prickling sensation crawling up his spine. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, sent shivers down his spine. He saw things in the periphery, fleeting glimpses of a tall, thin figure, always just out of sight, a distortion in the shadows that vanished as quickly as it appeared. The whispers started then, soft at first, a sibilant hiss that seemed to burrow into his mind, weaving themselves into the fabric of his thoughts. They spoke of secrets, of promises, of things best left undisturbed. They spoke of power, of knowledge, of a world beyond human comprehension. Billy felt a strange pull, a compulsion to go deeper into the woods, to follow the whispers, to unravel the mystery that clung to this forsaken place. He knew he should run, that he should turn back, but his legs felt like lead, his will paralyzed by an unseen force. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, weaving a hypnotic spell around him. They were no longer just sounds, but sensations, emotions, a direct intrusion into his consciousness. He felt a creeping dread, a sense of isolation and vulnerability that chilled him to the bone. He felt the presence of something ancient, something malevolent, something that existed beyond the boundaries of human understanding. Then he saw it, a tall, gaunt figure, impossibly thin, its limbs elongated and unnatural. It moved with an unnerving grace, gliding through the undergrowth like a phantom. Its face was obscured by shadows, a blank canvas that invited the imagination to fill in the terrifying details. It was Slender Man. Its long, spindly arms reached out, beckoning him closer, not with aggression, but with an unsettling allure, a promise of untold wonders and forbidden knowledge. Billy's last conscious thought was of the chilling whispers, promising him a glimpse into a world beyond human comprehension, a world of secrets and power, before the darkness swallowed him whole. Meanwhile, in the nearby town of Oakhaven, Sheriff Brody was dealing with a different kind of nightmare. He'd been investigating the disappearances for months, each case more baffling than the last. The victims, mostly children, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a lingering sense of dread and the unsettling feeling that something was profoundly wrong. There were no witnesses, no clues, no bodies. Just an unnerving emptiness where a child once played. Brody had heard the whispers, the hushed tones of fear that permeated the town. He'd seen the strange symbols etched into trees, the cryptic patterns that seemed to appear overnight, the unsettling feeling of being watched even in the broad daylight. He'd dismissed them as folklore, as the ramblings of frightened townsfolk, until he saw the look in Lily's eyes. A haunting mixture of terror and understanding. Lily, Billy's older sister, had been searching for her brother when she stumbled upon the Blackwood Manor. She found the symbols, the same ones etched into the trees near the other missing children. She found Billy's discarded flashlight, its beam still faintly illuminating the ground. And she saw him, or rather, she felt him. Slender Man. She didn't see him clearly, just a fleeting glimpse of a tall, dark figure amidst the trees. But the feeling of his presence, the chilling weight of his gaze, was overwhelming. She fled the manor, her mind reeling from the horror she had witnessed. She ran to the sheriff, her words tumbling out in a torrent of fear and desperation. Brody, initially skeptical, listened intently as Lily described the unsettling whispers, the strange symbols, the chilling presence of Slender Man. He saw the terror in her eyes, the unshakable conviction in her voice, and he knew, deep down, that this was no ordinary case. He gathered his deputies, his heart pounding in his chest. They ventured into Blackwood Forest, armed with flashlights and a growing sense of dread. They found the symbols, the same unsettling patterns that Lily had described. They heard the whispers, a maddening chorus that seemed to emanate from the trees themselves. And they felt it, the chilling presence of Slender Man, a palpable sense of dread that hung heavy in the air. They searched for days, weeks, months. They found clues, fragments of evidence, but no bodies, no trace of the missing children. The whispers intensified, becoming a constant, maddening presence, driving the deputies to the brink of madness. One by one, they succumbed to the fear, their minds unraveling under the weight of the unseen horror. Brody, however, refused to give up. He was determined to find the missing children, to understand the mystery of Slender Man, to bring closure to the terrified townsfolk of Oakhaven. He knew that Slender Man was more than just a myth, more than just a figment of the imagination. He was a terrifying reality, a creature that existed in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable, twisting the minds of its victims, and leaving behind a trail of fear and despair. He delved deeper into the mystery, researching the symbols, studying the patterns, piecing together the fragments of evidence. He learned of the rituals, the sacrifices, the ancient powers that Slender Man commanded. He learned of the otherworldly realm from which Slender Man emerged, a realm of shadows and whispers, a realm beyond human comprehension. Finally, after months of relentless investigation, Brody discovered the truth. Slender Man was not a single entity, but a manifestation of an ancient, malevolent force that fed on fear and despair. The symbols were not mere markings, but gateways, portals to otherworldly realms. The whispers were not just sounds, but intrusions into the minds of its victims, manipulating their thoughts, their emotions, their very essence. Brody knew that he could not defeat Slender Man directly. He could not fight a force that existed beyond the boundaries of human understanding. But he could protect the people of Oakhaven. He could seal the gateways. He could prevent Slender Man from preying on the innocent. He rallied the remaining deputies, the townsfolk, and together they performed an ancient ritual, a counter spell designed to banish Slender Man back to its realm of shadows. The ritual was dangerous, terrifying, but it worked. The whispers faded, the symbols lost their power, and the chilling presence of Slender Man vanished. The missing children were never found, but the terror that had gripped Oakhaven was finally lifted. The town slowly healed, the wounds of fear slowly closing. But the memory of Slender Man, the creature of myth and nightmare, remained. A chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of reality. Jeff the Killer. The flickering streetlight cast long, distorted shadows across the rain-slicked street as 15-year-old Lily hurried home, the chilling laughter of a group of older boys still echoing in her ears. She'd always taken the shortcut through the park, but tonight the usually familiar path felt different. The shadows seemed deeper, the silence more profound. A prickling sensation crawled up her spine, a feeling of being watched. She quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest. Every rustle of leaves sounded like footsteps, every shadow seemed to writhe and twist. The air hung heavy with an unnatural stillness, a palpable sense of dread that burrowed deep into her bones. Then she saw him. He stood at the edge of the park, silhouetted against the weak glow of the streetlight. Tall and gaunt, his skin pale and stretched taut over sharp cheekbones, his eyes wide and black, empty of any warmth or humanity. His smile was a grotesque parody of mirth, a jagged slash across his face that seemed to stretch from ear to ear. Jeff the Killer. Lily froze, paralyzed by terror. She knew the stories, the urban legends whispered in hushed tones around school, the tales of the disfigured killer who stalked the night, leaving behind a trail of victims. She'd dismissed them as nothing more than adolescent fantasies, but now, facing the chilling reality, she understood. He didn't move, didn't chase, but his presence was overwhelming, suffocating. He seemed to radiate an aura of pure malevolence, a palpable sense of dread that chilled her to the bone. His smile widened, his eyes burning with a cold, unsettling light. Lily's breath caught in her throat, her body trembling uncontrollably. She tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. He raised a hand, his fingers long and thin, like the claws of some grotesque creature. Then, as quickly as he appeared, he vanished, leaving behind only the lingering chill and the unshakable certainty that she had just faced the embodiment of her worst nightmares. Lily ran, not daring to look back, the image of Jeff's chilling smile seared into her memory. She never took the shortcut through the park again. The memory haunted her, a constant chilling presence that followed her into her dreams, a reminder of the night she faced Jeff the Killer. She would often find herself staring into the darkness, half expecting to see his pale face, his unsettling grin, his hollow eyes. The whispers followed her, weaving their way into her thoughts, a constant, insidious reminder of the terror she had experienced. She learned to live with the fear, but it never truly left her. The memory of Jeff the Killer remained, a dark stain on the fabric of her life, a chilling testament to the night she came face to face with pure evil. Meanwhile, in the nearby town of Oakhaven, Sheriff Brody was dealing with a different kind of nightmare. He'd been investigating a series of gruesome murders for months, each case more baffling than the last. The victims, all young adults, were found in their homes, their faces grotesquely mutilated, their bodies bearing the chilling signature of a single killer. There were no witnesses, no clues, no forced entry, just an unnerving emptiness where a life once existed. Brody had heard the whispers, the hushed tones of fear that permeated the town. He'd seen the disturbing images circulating online, the pale face, the unsettling grin, the hollow eyes. He dismissed them as folklore, as the ramblings of frightened townsfolk, until he saw the look in Lily's eyes, a haunting mixture of terror and understanding. Lily, a witness to Jeff's chilling presence, had come forward, her words tumbling out in a torrent of fear and desperation. Brody, initially skeptical, listened intently as Lily described the unsettling encounter, the chilling presence, the horrifying grin. He saw the terror in her eyes, the unshakable conviction in her voice, and he knew, deep down, that this was no ordinary case. He gathered his deputies, his heart pounding in his chest. They delved into the investigation, their minds reeling from the gruesome details of the murders. They studied the crime scenes, searching for clues, for any trace of the killer. They interviewed witnesses, neighbors, friends, family members, searching for any shred of information that might lead them to Jeff the Killer. They found nothing. The killer seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving behind only a trail of death and despair. Brody, however, refused to give up. He was determined to find Jeff, to bring him to justice, to bring closure to the grieving families. He knew that Jeff was more than just a myth, more than just a figment of the imagination. He was a terrifying reality, a creature of pure evil, a monster who stalked the night, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. He delved deeper into the investigation, researching the online forums, studying the disturbing images, piecing together the fragmented information. He learned of Jeff's past, his descent into madness, his transformation into a creature of pure evil. He learned of the fire, the tragic event that had scarred Jeff's body and soul, the event that had unleashed the monster within. He learned of Jeff's obsession with perfection, his twisted desire to create a world in his own image, a world free from imperfection, a world ruled by fear. He knew that he could not defeat Jeff directly. He could not fight a creature fueled by pure hatred and a thirst for blood. But he could protect the people of Oakhaven. He could prevent Jeff from claiming more victims. He could bring a measure of peace to the town. He rallied his deputies, his heart pounding in his chest. They worked tirelessly, following every lead, pursuing every clue, their determination fueled by the memory of the victims and the chilling presence of Jeff the Killer. They searched for months, their minds reeling from the gruesome details, their bodies weary from the relentless pursuit. They found clues, fragments of evidence, but no bodies, no trace of Jeff. The whispers intensified, becoming a constant, maddening presence, driving the deputies to the brink of madness. One by one, they succumbed to the fear, their minds unraveling under the weight of the unseen horror. Brody, however, refused to give up. He was determined to find Jeff, to bring him to justice, to bring closure to the terrified townsfolk of Oakhaven. He knew that Jeff was more than just a myth, more than just a figment of the imagination. He was a terrifying reality, a creature that existed in the shadows, preying on the vulnerable, twisting the minds of its victims, and leaving behind a trail of fear and despair. He delved deeper into the mystery, researching the symbols, studying the patterns, piecing together the fragments of evidence. He learned of the rituals, the sacrifices, the ancient powers that Jeff commanded. He learned of the otherworldly realm from which Jeff emerged, a realm of shadows and whispers, a realm beyond human comprehension. Finally, after months of relentless investigation, Brody discovered the truth. Jeff was not a single entity, but a manifestation of an ancient, malevolent force that fed on fear and despair. The symbols were not mere markings, but gateways, portals to otherworldly realms. The whispers were not just sounds, but intrusions into the minds of its victims, manipulating their thoughts, their emotions, their very essence. Brody knew that he could not defeat Jeff directly. He could not fight a force that existed beyond the boundaries of human understanding. But he could protect the people of Oakhaven. He could seal the gateways. He could prevent Jeff from preying on the innocent. He rallied the remaining deputies, the townsfolk, and together they performed an ancient ritual, a counterspell designed to banish Jeff back to his realm of shadows. The ritual was dangerous, terrifying, but it worked. The whispers faded, the symbols lost their power, and the chilling presence of Jeff vanished. The missing people were never found, but the terror that had gripped Oakhaven was finally lifted. The town slowly healed, the wounds of fear slowly closing, but the memory of Jeff the Killer, the creature of myth and nightmare, remained, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of reality. The whispers, however, persisted, a constant, insidious presence, a chilling reminder of the night she faced Jeff the Killer. The memory haunted her, a dark stain on the fabric of her life, a chilling testament to the night she came face to face with pure evil. She would often find herself staring into the darkness, half expecting to see his pale face, his unsettling grin, his hollow eyes. The whispers followed her, weaving their way into her thoughts, a constant, insidious reminder of the terror she had experienced. She learned to live with the fear, but it never truly left her. The memory of Jeff the Killer remained, a dark stain on the fabric of her life, a chilling testament to the night she came face to face with pure evil. Ben drowned. The flickering computer screen cast an eerie glow across the room, illuminating the worried face of 17-year-old Alex. He'd found a seemingly innocuous ROM cartridge for the Nintendo 64, labeled simply Majora's Mask. But this wasn't just any copy of the game. This was something far more sinister. He'd downloaded it from a shady forum, intrigued by the cryptic messages and warnings. Now, as the game glitched and stuttered, he regretted his curiosity. The game started normally enough, but subtle anomalies began to appear. The graphics flickered, sounds distorted, and the familiar soundtrack was punctuated by unsettling whispers and static. The game's infamous creepy elements seemed amplified, more disturbing than he remembered. Then the glitches escalated. Faces appeared in the background, distorted and grotesque, their eyes burning with a malevolent light. The music became a cacophony of dissonant notes, punctuated by chilling whispers that seemed to burrow into his mind. The whispers spoke of a drowned child, of a malevolent entity trapped within the game's code, of a curse that would follow him into the real world. Alex tried to ignore it, to dismiss it as a faulty ROM, but the glitches grew more intense, more terrifying. The game's characters behaved erratically, their dialogue replaced by nonsensical ramblings and unsettling pronouncements. He started seeing things in the reflection of his monitor, fleeting glimpses of a pale, distorted face, its eyes wide and hollow, its lips twisted into a silent scream. He tried to turn off the game, but the console wouldn't respond. The power button was unresponsive, the system seemingly frozen in a state of perpetual terror. The whispers intensified, weaving their way into his thoughts, manipulating his emotions, his very essence. He felt a cold dread grip his heart, a sense of impending doom that chilled him to the bone. The distorted face in the reflection grew clearer, its features becoming more defined, more terrifying. It was Ben drowned. The game's malevolent entity had escaped its digital prison and entered Alex's reality. He screamed, his voice hoarse with terror, but the whispers drowned him out, their maddening chorus filling his mind, twisting his perceptions, warping his reality. He tried to run, to escape, but his legs felt like lead, his body paralyzed by fear. The distorted face in the reflection grew closer, its eyes burning with a malevolent light, its lips twisted into a silent scream. Ben drowned had claimed another victim. The next day, Alex's friends found his room in disarray, the computer screen frozen on a disturbing image, the Nintendo 64 still running, and Alex nowhere to be found. The only clue was a single, chilling message scrawled on the wall, in blood. "You should have let me win." The whispers persisted, a constant, insidious presence, a chilling reminder of the night Ben drowned claimed another victim. The story of Alex's encounter spread like wildfire, fueling the already rampant fear. People warned others about the cursed Majora's Mask cartridge, the malevolent entity trapped within its code, the chilling whispers that burrowed into your mind, the distorted face that appeared in your reflection. Ben drowned was no longer just an urban legend. He was a terrifying reality, a nightmare that haunted the internet, preying on its fears, feeding on its terror. And as the story spread, so did the whispers, a constant, chilling reminder that some games are best left unplayed, some curses best left undisturbed, some entities are best left to their digital prisons, lest they escape and claim another victim. The whispers continued, a constant, insidious presence, a chilling reminder of the night Ben drowned claimed another victim. The story of Alex's encounter spread like wildfire, fueling the already rampant fear. People warned others about the cursed Majora's Mask cartridge, the malevolent entity trapped within its code, the chilling whispers that burrowed into your mind, the distorted face that appeared in your reflection. Ben drowned was no longer just an urban legend, he was a terrifying reality, a nightmare that haunted the internet, preying on its fears, feeding on its terror. And as the story spread, so did the whispers, a constant, chilling reminder that some games are best left unplayed, some curses best left undisturbed, some entities are best left to their digital prisons, lest they escape and claim another victim. The whispers continued, a constant, insidious presence, a chilling reminder of the night Ben drowned claimed another victim. The story of Alex's encounter spread like wildfire, fueling the already rampant fear. People warned others about the cursed Majora's Mask cartridge, the malevolent entity trapped within its code, the chilling whispers that burrowed into your mind, the distorted face that appeared in your reflection. Ben drowned was no longer just an urban legend. He was a terrifying reality, a nightmare that haunted the internet, preying on its fears, feeding on its terror. And as the story spread, so did the whispers, a constant, chilling reminder that some games are best left unplayed, some curses best left undisturbed, some entities are best left to their digital prisons, lest they escape and claim another victim. Candle Cove, the haunting of Timmy. The static crackled, the grainy image flickering on the old television set. 10-year-old Timmy clutched his worn copy of the Horace Heffelhoof's Guide to Candle Cove, his eyes glued to the screen. Candle Cove, the bizarre children's show that aired only on his local channel, was a source of both fascination and terror. The show featured the unsettlingly cheerful host, Horace Heffelhoof, a man with a perpetually unsettling grin and eyes that seemed to bore into your soul. The puppets were equally disturbing, grotesque creatures with mismatched limbs and unsettling expressions. Tonight's episode was particularly unsettling. The puppets seemed to move on their own, their dialogue distorted and nonsensical. The static increased, the image flickering wildly. Then, the words appeared, scrawled across the screen in a blood-red font. You shouldn't have watched. Timmy felt a cold dread grip his heart. He tried to turn off the television, but the remote wouldn't respond. The static intensified, the image dissolving into a chaotic swirl of colors and shadows. Then, a face appeared, a grotesque parody of Horace Heffelhoof's, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. The face seemed to reach out from the screen, its distorted features twisting and contorting. Timmy screamed, his voice hoarse with terror. He ran from the room, the chilling image seared into his memory. He never watched Candle Cove again, but the whispers persisted, a constant, insidious presence, a chilling reminder of the night he faced the horrors of Candle Cove. He'd often find himself staring into the darkness, half expecting to see the grotesque face of Horace Heffelhoof, his eyes burning with a malevolent light. The whispers followed him, weaving their way into his thoughts, a constant reminder of the terror he'd experienced. He learned to live with the fear, but it never truly left him. The memory of Candle Cove remained, a dark stain on the fabric of his life, a chilling testament to the night he came face to face with pure evil. Years later, Timmy, now a young man, found himself drawn back to the mystery of Candle Cove. The whispers had never truly left him, a subtle undercurrent to his life, a constant reminder of the terrifying encounter. He delved into the world of online forums, exploring the countless stories and theories surrounding Candle Cove, searching for a connection, for a shared experience that might help him make sense of the night that changed his life forever. He discovered that he wasn't alone. Countless others had experienced the horrors of Candle Cove, each with their own terrifying tale to tell. And as he delved deeper, he realized that the whispers weren't just in his head. They were a collective consciousness, a shared experience that transcended the boundaries of space and time, a chilling testament to the power of fear in the digital age. Timmy learned of the symbols, the strange markings found near the sites of disappearances, and the unsettling patterns that seemed to connect seemingly unrelated events. He saw the artwork, the fan fiction, the video games, all born from the collective imagination, all fueled by the primal fear of the unknown. And as he pieced together the fragmented stories, he began to understand the true nature of Candle Cove. It wasn't merely a children's show, it was a gateway, a portal to another world, a realm of shadows and whispers, a realm beyond human comprehension. It was a place where the lines between reality and fiction blurred, where the puppets came to life, where the whispers became voices, where the terror became real. Timmy knew with a chilling certainty that Candle Cove was still out there, waiting, watching, whispering. One night, as he scrolled through an online forum dedicated to Candle Cove, he stumbled upon a thread titled "The Lost Episodes." Intrigued, he clicked on it, and his heart raced as he read the chilling accounts of others who had encountered the show in its most disturbing form. The posts described episodes that had never aired, episodes filled with grotesque imagery and unsettling messages that seemed to reach out from the screen and into the viewer's mind. Timmy felt a compulsion to find these lost episodes, to experience the terror that had haunted him for so long. He spent hours searching the internet, diving deeper into the dark corners of the web, where whispers of Candle Cove thrived. He found a link to a file-sharing site that claimed to host the lost episodes. His heart raced as he clicked the link, downloading the files with trembling hands. That night, he sat in front of his computer, the dim light casting eerie shadows across his room. He opened the first episode, and the familiar static filled the air. The screen flickered to life, revealing the haunting image of Horace Heffelhoof, his grin wider than ever, his eyes glinting with a malevolent light. The puppets danced around him, their movements jerky and unnatural, their laughter echoing in a dissonant melody that sent chills down Timmy's spine. As the episode progressed, the content grew increasingly disturbing. The puppets began to speak in distorted voices, their dialogue filled with cryptic messages that seemed to taunt Timmy. "You shouldn't have come back," they whispered, their eyes boring into his soul. The screen flickered, and for a brief moment, Timmy saw a flash of something horrifying, a glimpse of a dark figure lurking in the shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Timmy's heart raced as he tried to turn off the video, but the controls were unresponsive. The whispers grew louder, drowning out his thoughts, filling his mind with a cacophony of terror. He felt a cold dread grip his heart as the screen distorted, revealing images of children with vacant expressions, their eyes hollow and lifeless. The puppets began to chant, their voices rising in a haunting crescendo. "Join us, Timmy. Join us in Candle Cove." Panic surged through him, and he finally managed to shut off the computer. He sat in the darkness, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The whispers persisted, echoing in his mind, a constant reminder of the horrors he had just witnessed. He tried to shake off the feeling, to convince himself it was just a game, just a story. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. Over the next few days, Timmy's life spiraled into chaos. He couldn't sleep, haunted by nightmares of Candle Cove and its grotesque puppets. The whispers grew louder, invading his thoughts, twisting his reality. He began to see shadows lurking in the corners of his vision, fleeting glimpses of the puppets watching him, waiting for him to succumb to their dark influence. He confided in his friends, but they dismissed his fears as mere paranoia. "It's just a show, Timmy," they said, rolling their eyes. "You're letting it get to your head." But they didn't understand. They hadn't experienced the terror that Candle Cove unleashed. They hadn't felt the cold grip of fear that wrapped around his heart, squeezing tighter with each passing day. Desperate for answers, Timmy returned to the online forum, searching for anyone who might have experienced the same horrors. He found a user named Candle Watcher, who claimed to have uncovered the truth behind the show. They exchanged messages, and Candle Watcher revealed that the show was more than just a children's program. It was a vessel for a dark entity that fed on fear and despair. "You have to stop watching," Candle Watcher warned. "The more you engage with it, the stronger it becomes. It feeds on your fear." But Timmy was too far gone. The whispers had taken root in his mind, and he felt an irresistible pull to watch the final lost episode. He found the link, trembling with anticipation and dread. As he clicked play, the screen flickered to life, revealing a dark and twisted version of Candle Cove. The episode began with Horace Heffelhoof standing alone on the pirate ship, his smile twisted into a grotesque grimace. The puppets were absent, replaced by shadows that danced around him, whispering in a language Timmy couldn't understand. The atmosphere was thick with dread, and Timmy felt a cold sweat break out across his forehead. "Welcome back, Timmy," Horace said, his voice dripping with malice. "We've been waiting for you." As the episode progressed, Timmy felt himself being drawn into the screen, the boundaries between reality and the show blurring. The whispers grew louder, a maddening chorus that filled his mind with terror. He could feel the dark entity reaching out, its cold fingers brushing against his consciousness, pulling him deeper into the abyss. Suddenly the screen flashed, and Timmy found himself standing on the deck of the pirate ship, surrounded by the puppets. Their eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and their smiles twisted into grotesque expressions of glee. "Join us, Timmy," they chanted, their voices echoing in his mind. "Join us in Candle Cove." Panic surged through him, and he tried to run, but the shadows closed in around him, wrapping around his body like a suffocating shroud. He could feel the whispers clawing at his mind, urging him to surrender, to give in to the darkness. "You can't escape," they taunted. "You belong to us now." In that moment, Timmy realized the truth. Candle Cove was not just a show, it was a trap, a dark entity that fed on the fears of its viewers. He had unwittingly opened a door to a realm of shadows and despair, and now it was too late to turn back. With a surge of determination, Timmy fought against the darkness, pushing back against the whispers that threatened to consume him. He focused on the memories of his childhood, the laughter of his friends, the warmth of the sun on his face. He refused to let Candle Cove take him. "I won't join you," he shouted, his voice echoing through the darkness. "I am not afraid." The shadows recoiled, and the puppets shrieked in rage. The screen flickered violently, and Timmy felt himself being pulled back, the darkness retreating as he fought to break free. With one final push, he tore himself away from the grasp of Candle Cove, stumbling back into the safety of his room. Gasping for breath, Timmy collapsed onto the floor, the remnants of the episode still flickering on the screen. The whispers faded, replaced by the sound of his own heartbeat. He had escaped, but the memory of Candle Cove lingered, a dark stain on his soul. In the days that followed, Timmy tried to return to normalcy, but the experience had changed him. He could no longer watch television without feeling a sense of dread. The whispers haunted him, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the veil of reality. He returned to the online forum, sharing his experience with others who had encountered the horrors of Candle Cove. Together they formed a support group, sharing their stories and helping each other cope with the lingering effects of the show. They vowed to warn others, to ensure that no one else would fall victim to the dark entity that resided within Candle Cove. As the years passed, the legend of Candle Cove grew, becoming a cautionary tale whispered among children and adults alike. The show was no longer just a memory. It had become a symbol of the darkness that lurked in the corners of their minds, a reminder that some things are best left unseen. Timmy often thought back to that fateful night, the moment he faced the darkness and emerged victorious. He had escaped Candle Cove, but the experience had left its mark. He knew that the whispers would never truly fade, that the shadows would always linger just out of sight. And so, he continued to share his story, to warn others of the dangers that lay within the realm of Candle Cove. He hoped that by shining a light on the darkness, he could help others find their way back to safety, away from the whispers and the shadows that threatened to consume them. Candle Cove remained a haunting presence in Timmy's life, a chilling reminder of the power of fear and the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of reality. He had faced the entity that resided within the show and emerged stronger, but he knew that the battle was far from over. The whispers would persist, a constant reminder that some doors are best left closed, some shows best left unwatched, and some entities best left undisturbed. As he lay in bed at night, the darkness wrapping around him like a shroud, Timmy closed his eyes and whispered a silent prayer. He hoped that the whispers would fade, that the shadows would retreat, and that he could finally find peace. But deep down, he knew that Candle Cove would always be there, waiting, watching, whispering.
Well, that's the end of this story. But the darkness is always listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, if you dare.